Hi, Phanessa here. In this video, I am going to demonstrate how to crochet the Jupiter cardigan. So this cardigan works up really fast. The stitch pattern is just a 2-row repeat, and because they are treble stitches, they're taller and they go quicker. Okay, so I used Lion Brand's Pound of Love. You may recognize this color. This is quartz. I used it to make the wavy puff sprays blanket. I mean, I bought so many and I have so many left that I decided to make something out of it. I'm going to start you off with this and then we'll continue with the actual project. So you work 3 pieces. You have your back piece and then you have a front right and left panel, and then it is seamed right here on the side, so you can see this is the seam on the inside. When you sew up the side, you start your sleeve all the way to here. We'll mention that later in the video, but I did decrease it so that it's smaller here. There are timestamps in the description box so that you can jump around and go to the section that you need. Again, I use Lion Brand's Pound of Love, and you'll need a crochet hook. So I used a 6mm, that's a size J. You'll need a pair of scissors, a tapestry needle, and a tape measure. Okay, for more information on the pattern, there's a link provided in the description box. So the back and the 2 front panels are worked the same, just with less stitches. So I'm just going to demonstrate a small sample, and you'll do that for all 3 pieces. All right, let's get started. So we're going to start with the back section, the largest section, and we're starting at the bottom, so we're starting at the hem. Because it's such a wide piece, I use the foundation double crochet instead of chaining, X amount of stitches and then going backwards. So let's get started with that. So starting with a slip knot, you're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. So into this 3rd stitch here, which is the very first stitch next to the slip knot, you're going to work into that stitch. So yarn over, insert your hook, and I like to go through 2 loops, yarn over and pull up a loop. So when you're working a foundation double crochet, you are working the chain stitch and the double crochet at the same time. So to achieve that, you want to chain 1 first, and that'll be your chain stitch right there. And then this will be your double crochet. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. So now we have 2 double crochets. Now into that chain 1 that we made down here, that's going to be where you will work your next foundation double crochet stitch. So yarn over into that chain 1 you made earlier. Make sure you go through both loops, yarn over, pull up a loop. Okay, again, you want to start with your chain 1 first, which is your chain stitch, chain 1. Now complete your double crochet, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. Okay, so that's what you're going to repeat, yarn over, and then into the last chain 1 stitch that you made at the bottom, yarn over, pull up a loop. So I say at the bottom because this is the way it would look if you were working back into the chain stitches. So these are the double crochet stitches. This one at the bottom is the chain stitch. So I haven't chained 1 yet. So chain 1, that's your chain stitch right there. Now complete a double crochet, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so you're going to repeat this in multiples of 6 plus 1. So you should be able to gauge how wide your back piece and front piece will be as you crochet your foundation double crochet stitch. So this pattern, this stitch pattern is in multiples of 6 plus 1. And I'm just making a little sample, but for mine it was a size large, and I have 79 foundation double crochets. So for the other sizes, the links are provided in the description box. So I will continue my foundation double crochets. I do have a tutorial just for the foundation double crochet. Check that out if you are interested. Okay, so I have 19 stitches. That's in multiples of 6 plus 1. I only worked 3 rows of the hem, so at the bottom you can choose to work more if you like or less. Row 2, turn, and then you're going to work a chainless double crochet, pull up a tall loop, place your finger on your loop on the hook, bring your hook forward and around into the very first stitch right here. Don't let go of the loop. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. Okay, you can chain 3 if you would like, or chain 2 and work a double crochet into the same stitch. However you start, just make sure that you are consistent throughout. Okay, so we're going to work 1 double crochet in every stitch across. Yarn over into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. Okay, so I'm going to work 1 double crochet in each stitch across, and then I'm going to repeat this row one more time. Again, you can work as many rows as you'd like for the width of the hem. Okay, when you get to the end, don't forget the last stitch. Okay, count your stitches if you're not sure. So here's 1, 2, 16, 17, 18. So I'm missing a stitch. Okay, but this one here lines up with this one here. Okay, so this one lines up with this, that one lines up with that, and then this one is all by its lonesome self. So make sure you work into the last stitch. If you decided to work chain stitches instead of the foundation double crochet, that will be the 3 stitches that you skipped in the beginning. That's your turning chain. Okay, 1 more row. I'm at the last stitch. If you chained 3, you'll work into the 3rd chain of your turning chain, but I'm going to work on the top of the chainless double crochet stitch. Okay, now we're ready to work the body. So we're going to start with chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now this is going to count as 1 treble, which is the first 4 chains, and then the last chain is a chain 1. So it's 1 treble and 1 chain. Now you're going to work another treble into the same stitch, yarn over twice into the same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, skip 2 stitches, so skip 1, 2, work 1 single crochet into the next stitch. Insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through 2. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, skip 2, so skip these 2, and then in the next stitch we're going to work 1 treble, chain 2, and 1 treble. One treble, chain 2, and 1 treble. Chain 3. So that's what you repeat across. Okay, skip 2, 1 single crochet, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, skip 2, and then work your set of 1 treble, chain 2, and 1 treble. So there's 1 treble, chain 2, and 1 treble into the same stitch. So repeat that across. 3, 1, 2, and then when you work your single crochet, you should have 3 stitches left. You're going to chain 3, skip 2, and then into the last stitch you're going to match this side, so you're going to work 1 treble, chain 1, and 1 treble. Okay, next row you're going to chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, turn your work. That is also going to count as 1 treble and 1 chain. So into the same stitch you're going to work 2 treble stitches. So it's like you have 3 right there. Chain 1. We're going to skip all of these, and then into this chain 2 space, we're going to work 2 trebles, chain 1 and 2 trebles. Okay, so there's 1 and 2. Chain 1 and then 2 more trebles into the same chain 2 space. 1 and 2. So that's what you're going to repeat all the way across. Chain 1 and then work your set of 2 trebles, chain 1 and 2 trebles into each chain 2 space. Just remember that there is a chain 1 in between each set as well. Once you work a few of these, it'll be really easy to remember and almost mindless. So you're going to repeat that until you've completed your last set. You want to end with working into the 4th chain from your turning chain. So 1, 2, 3, 4. If you want, you can work right into the space, but just keep it consistent throughout your pattern. Yarn over twice and then into the 4th stitch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4th chain stitch, insert your hook and then work your treble and then another treble, chain 1 and then 1 more treble. So it's 2 trebles, chain 1 and 1 treble. Okay, next row, chain 5, 3, 4, 5. So this is going to be like this row, except we're not working into a base, of double crochets. So into the same stitch, you're going to work 1 treble. Again, that chain 5 is going to count as 1 treble and a chain stitch. So we're going to work 3 chains. Into this chain 1 space right here, we're going to work 1 single crochet. So right into the space, 1 single crochet. Chain 3. And then in between these sets, you're going to work your set of 1 treble, 2 chains, and 1 treble. Chain 3. Into this space, 1 single crochet. Okay, so you're going to repeat that across. 1 single crochet into the space, chain 3, and then into the chain 1 space in between this set here is going to be 1 treble, chain 2, and 1 treble. Okay, when you've worked into your last space here with your single crochet, you're going to chain 3, again into the 4th chain or into the space, whatever you decide to do, keep it consistent. You're going to work 1 treble, chain 1, and 1 treble. So 1, 2, 3, 4. One treble, chain 1, and 1 treble. So you're going to repeat those 2 rows until you're happy with the length of the cardigan. So this will be from your shoulder all the way down to the hem. And you want to stop in this row because, as you can see now, this is sort of curvy and it's not straight. So this row here is going to finish off with a straight edge. So let me just finish that so you can see. Although I put numbers for, the sizing and when to stop, I really want you to be able to adjust it to your liking. So I always say, or as desired or whatever size you want. So, and in order for me to provide yardage, I need to have some number, some length and measurement. So, but I really love that this pattern is flexible and you can adjust your size. Okay, so you can see here your work now has a straight edge. So you want to repeat those 2 rows and then end on this row here. Okay, so complete your back piece and then follow the same instructions to work your front panels. For this one, so for my front panels, I worked 31 foundation double crochets. That's 5 sets of the 6 stitches, that's 30, plus the extra stitch for the edge. Okay, so that's how you will determine how many double crochets you need for your front panel if you're adjusting on your own. If not, just follow the instructions on the pattern. So I have one of my panels done and I want to attach it to my back. So I have the same number of rows as I do the back piece right now. So I have 26 rows here and 26 rows here. That's not counting the double crochet rows. So that's additional 3 rows there. So for a total of 29, but I'm just counting the lace stitches. So I have 26 here and 26 here. I'm going to crochet another row and attach it to the back. And at this point, it's still reversible, so you want to take a look at your work to see which side you want to be your right side. Right now, I'm looking at the double stitches here, the two trebles, and the chain 1. So I'm going to look at this side, and I want to match that basically. So if I turn this, you can see this is the wrong side of this stitch. So I want it to match. These are on the right side, and then these are the wrong side. So that's the back side of these stitches. So you just want, at this point, you just want to line it up to make sure that it's matching. And because it's on this side, this is where I ended, I'm going to flip it over so I can crochet from this side here, since you always crochet in this direction. So remember, you want to end after row 2. So you're going to continue the pattern on that very last row where you're going to join to the back. Okay, so it's a little different. You want to chain 4, which is your treble, and then for the chain 1, you're going to come over here and join it to the very corner here. So join to the 4th chain on this side. Again, if you're just working into the space, just join it right to the space. So there's the additional chain stitch. So there's 5 chains. Now we're going to come back here and work the treble. Okay, so now we're going to chain 3, just like we did down here. 1 single crochet into this space. Chain 3. 1 treble here. Remember, we did 1 treble, chain 2, and 1 treble. So we're going to work 1 treble, chain 1, and then come over here on this side, in between this here, okay? So that's your set of the 2 trebles, chain 1, and 2 trebles. You're going to work a slip stitch right into the space. Okay, now you're going to work another treble back in here. And then you continue on. So you're going to chain 3, join here, chain 3, work your first treble, chain 1, and then join here. So you're going back and forth. Okay, so we're going to continue. Chain 3, join here into this chain 1 space, chain 3, into here, 1 treble, chain 1, and then on this side, in between these 2 sets here, work a slip stitch, and then a treble back into this side here. Chain 3, 1 single crochet down here, chain 3, 1 treble, chain 1, come back on this side, slip stitch, treble back in here, and then I'm just going to repeat. Okay, I'm back here. Okay, right here on this side. Okay, you can see that you're joining it as you work your last row. So if you look down here, it's kind of like if you're working this row here, this is where this one joins into that one, so it's just kind of the opposite direction, since it's this one's, the back's coming up this way, this one's coming up this way. I'm at the end here. 2, 3. Okay, so remember in the end you work 1 treble, chain 1 and 1 treble, so it's only 1 chain. So what you're going to do is work the treble into that 4th chain from the turning chain, or into the space, whatever you choose. Just keep it consistent. So there's 1 treble, and then back on this side, same thing, we're going to join here. And then complete it with 1 treble into that same 4th chain. And then I'm just going to go back in here and slip stitch to secure it. Slip stitch and then secure. Okay, so now you're going to work the other panel, which I've done here. And we want to join this side. So again, I want to match these stitches. So I'm actually going to start from this side. So looking at my stitches, so there's the side edge stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'll join here. You can mark where you need to go in first if that will help. So start with your chain 4. Remember the 5th chain is going to go into here. So slip stitch here. 1 treble back into the same stitch as the chains, as those chain stitches. Chain 3, 1 single crochet here, chain 3, 1 treble into this next chain 1 space, chain 1. Now onto this side, slip stitch, treble back into the chain 1 space, chain 3, 1 single crochet here, and then I'm going to repeat across like I did for the other side. I'm at the end here. I'm going to slip stitch to this side and then work my last treble back here. I'm going to fasten off here. So I want to work 1 more slip stitch just back into the same space here, or stitch. Okay, so now I have my front panels on. Okay, before I work the seams on the side, I want to now choose my right and wrong side. So because I see more of the double stitches here, I want to make sure that's on the right side. So what I mean by that is I'm going to use this side as my right side because I see more of this stitch, so I want this to be the right side. And it's up to you. So I'm just going to mark here that this is the right side. And you do want the right sides together, so you want the wrong side on the outside when you are working your seams. So measure how wide or how big you want your armhole, and then you want to mark it so that you know where to stop when you're seaming up the sides. In the pattern there's a chart for a standard armhole size. You want to go a little bit bigger than that. I'm just going to mark right here on this line here and this side. Okay, so you can put your arm through here to see how you like it. Just make sure you give yourself some space, so you don't want it wrapped around your arm tight. I'm just going to work slip stitches. So I already have a tail right in the corner. I want to join my new yarn just so I don't have extra ends to weave. So this is the new yarn. This is the tail. I'm going to join with an invisible join. So I'm going to tie this here. Just tie a knot. And then I'm going to tie this one on this side. And then you just pull this, and then you want to snip the ends. Okay. So starting at the corner, this is the hem down here. I'm going to insert my hook right into the corner, and I'm going to pull up this loop here. Okay, so now I'm going to just go into the next stitch here. And through here, I'm going to work a slip stitch. So this space here, and try to go in through the double crochets or trebles instead of like into the space. So instead of going into the space, go in between the stitches. And you can join however you like. I'm just doing this because it's easier for me. You can cut a long piece and use a tapestry needle. And you want to do this loosely so that you don't make your fabric pucker. So these are chain stitches. It's a little hard to get in there. If you can, go ahead and go through there. If you can't, just go through the space. And then on this side, just make sure you go through the stitch instead of in the space. So I'm going to go into the space again, and then on this side I want to go through these stitches. And then every once in a while you want to stop to make sure that your rows are still aligned so that you're working the seam properly. You can look by sort of these lines here. So you can kind of see those are 2 rows in between each line. So I'm almost to the stitch marker. Okay, so that's the marker. I'm going to work one last slip stitch there. Now we're going to work on the sleeves, and what you want to do is you want to turn your work around so that the right side is out. My ball's big, but I'm going to pull that through. Make sure you mark the same spot on the other side. Okay, so I'm going to work 1 round of single crochets. So I'm going to chain 1 and work single crochets all the way around, and you want stitches in multiples of 6. Okay, I'm near the beginning again, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Okay, I'm going to slip stitch to the first stitch, and then you can mark the beginning of the round. round 1, chain 6. Now we've been chaining 5 because the edge stitch was 1 treble, chain 1 and 1 treble. Since we're working in the round, it's going to be the same as all the other sets. It's going to be 1 treble, chain 2 and 1 treble. So that's why we're chaining an additional stitch. So 1 treble into the same stitch. So the chain 6 is 1 treble and 2 chains. Chain 3, skip 2 stitches into the third, 1 single crochet. Chain 3, skip 2 into the third, work your set of 1 treble stitch, 2 chains and 1 treble. So that's 1 treble, chain 2 and 1 treble into the same stitch. So repeat that around, chain 3, skip 2, 1 single crochet, chain 3, skip 2, and then the set of trebles, 1 treble, chain 2 and 1 treble. So a V stitch. So repeat that all the way around, and you're going to slip stitch into the 4th chain. Okay, I'm at the beginning. So I worked my single crochet, chained 3. I'm going to skip 2, and then into the 4th chain from the beginning, chain 6, you want to work a slip stitch. So that's where you'll join 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. For round 2, you're going to slip stitch into the chain 2 space, and then you're going to chain 4. That's going to count as your first treble. Then you're going to work 1 treble, chain 1, and then 2 trebles into the same chain 2 space. So just like we did down here. Okay, we're going to skip all of these stitches, chain 1, and then work your next set into the chain 2 space up here. 2 trebles, chain 1 and 2 trebles. So that's 1, 2, chain 1, and then 2 more trebles, 1 and 2. So this is just like working the rest of the pattern, except we're working in the round. Now you do have the option to turn at the end of every round. So when we ended here, you could have turned around and start working in the other direction. That just keeps it consistent with the pattern down here where you worked back and forth in rows. For this tutorial, I'm just going to go in the round because I like working in the round. So, but you do have that option. So go ahead and repeat that all the way around, working your set of 2 trebles, chain 1 and 2 trebles in every chain 2 space, and then you want to chain 1 between each set as well. So there's my set. I'm going to chain 1 and move on to the next chain 2 space. Okay, I'm back around. You can move your marker up as you go if you'd like. So I've worked my last set into the chain 2 space. I need to join to the first set, so into the 4th chain from the beginning chain 4, work your slip stitch. Okay, next round, you're going to slip stitch into the chain 1 space here. Okay, so we're going to chain 6. That's your first treble and the chain 2. 1 treble stitch into the same space. Chain 3. Into the next space, 1 single crochet. Chain 3. Into the chain 1 space, 1 treble, chain 2 and 1 treble. Okay, chain 3, 1 single crochet into the next chain 1 space. Whoops. Chain 3 into the chain 1 space, 1 treble, chain 2 and 1 treble. So just repeat all the way around. I'm back around and I need to chain 3 to finish off, work my single crochet in the next chain 2 space, chain 3, and then I'm going to join to the 4th chain from the chain 6. Remember, that's 1 treble and 2 chains, so you want to work your slip stitch into the 4th chain. Now you just repeat these 2 rounds until you're happy with the length. I am going to add 3 rows or rounds of the double crochet for the sleeves, for the cuffs, so take that into consideration. Okay, so I'm happy with the length of my sleeves, and I'm going to add the double crochet stitches. Again, you want to stop after round 2 where it gives you a flatter edge. If you don't want to decrease this, you'll just work into every stitch around. If you do, then you'll just follow these directions. And again, you can also turn this after each round to keep it consistent with the hem. I'm going to work a chainless double crochet, so I'm going to pull up a tall loop, hold my loop here, come forward, around, into the same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip every chain space, every chain 1 space. So I've got 1 here, 1 here, and then I'm going to skip this chain 1 space. I'm going to work into the next 2 stitches, which is the next treble stitches. Oh, and you can always decrease the size of your hook too if you want it smaller. So I'm going to skip this chain 1 into the next treble, next 2 trebles. Skip the chain 1 into the next treble. Okay, so just repeat that all the way around. So you're decreasing the stitches by skipping the chain 1 stitches. Okay, so you can already tell it's pulling in a little bit. Essentially, you're skipping every 3rd stitch. Okay, so I'm back around. I'm going to slip stitch into the chainless double crochet that I've worked. If you chained 3, just slip stitch to the 3rd chain. Round 2, I'm going to start with my chainless double crochet, and then I'm going to work 3 double crochets and then double crochet 2 together. So I've got my first double crochet here, and then I work 2 more, and then you want to decrease over 2 stitches. So yarn over into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and then into the next stitch, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through 2. Okay, so now you're going to yarn over and pull through 3. So you've decreased those 2 stitches. The repeat is 3 double crochets, so 1 in each of the next 3 stitches, and then double crochet 2 together. And if you don't have the perfect number to work the repeats all the way around, just go ahead and work double crochets in any remaining stitches. Okay, so that's 3 double crochets and double crochet 2 together. 3 double crochets, okay, I'm all the way around, and this is what I mean. So I've worked a decrease here and I only had 1 stitch left, so I just worked 1 double crochet. I'm going to join with a slip stitch to the first double crochet or to your chain 3, whatever you used. so now it is getting smaller. Round 3, again, I'm going to start with a chainless double crochet stitch. You want to work 2 double crochets and then double crochet 2 together. 2 double crochets and then double crochet 2 together. 2 double crochets, so 1 in each of the next 2 stitches, and double crochet 2 together. Okay, so I have 3 rounds of the double crochets with the decrease. I'm going to work 2 rounds of single crochets, so it'll look like this. So all you do is chain 1 and then into the same stitch 1 single crochet and into every stitch around. When you get to the end, or when you come back around, don't join your work, just work right into the first stitch and then work 1 more round, so in a continuous round, and then you can mark that stitch if you'd like, but I'm only working 2 rounds, and after the second I'm just going to fasten off. I'm going to join and then fasten off. Okay, so this is the last stitch. Here's my first single crochet. I'm just going to work right into there. Instead of joining, I'm just going to work single crochet. You can mark that stitch as your first. And then I'm just going to finish up this round. Okay, so I'm at the end. So I'm going to join to this first stitch that I marked, but I'm going to join from behind so it's more smoother join. So insert your hook into the stitch you want to join, grab your loop and pull it through, and then just fasten off. Okay, so that's my sleeve. Now you want to work the front band. So you want to just join and work single crochets along the edge. I'd say about 3 stitches for every treble stitch here, and then 1 right there in the center. Okay, right into the corner, join your yarn and then chain 1 and 1 single crochet there, and then just go across. Again, if you work through the stitches, it looks better instead of just into the space. So there's 1, 2. I mean, you don't have to, you can just go into the space if you want. It's really just personal preference. Okay, so you're going to do that all the way across and in the neck too. So this is the neck area. You're just going to go right across and all the way back to the other side. Once you complete your setup row, you will then turn and work 3 rows of double crochet stitches. You can chain 3, but I always start mine with a chainless double crochet stitch. I'm going to try 3 rows to match the hem and then see if I want to make it wider. So I completely missed recording this part, so I've already worked the front band, and I actually did 5 rows. So when you complete your setup row, you want to turn your work, and then I started with the chainless double crochet, and then you just work 1 double crochet in every stitch all the way to the other side, and then you just repeat. So I'll show you with this contrasting color how to do that. So when you complete your setup row, you will already have your yarn attached. So just ignore that I'm attaching a new yarn. Once you turn your work, you will work your chainless double crochet, pulling up a tall loop, going forward, back around into the same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. Okay, and then into the next stitch, and every stitch you'll just work double crochets. So that's what I did down here. Okay, so once you work all the way to the other side, you will go ahead and repeat this row. So turn your work, work your chainless double crochet, and then work all of your double crochet stitches. And again, you can repeat that for as many rows as you want. This is the width of your band, so this is how wide it is. So for my 5 rows, it is approximately 3 inches. Okay. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification button so that you'll be notified every time I post a video, and I appreciate your support. I'll see you next time.